How's it hanging, everybody? So today we're talking Sea of Stars, and I'm trying to smile. It's kind of hard when you have a beard. It looks like you're unenthusiastic some of the time, but trust me, I'm smiling on the inside because today is the Sea of Stars release date. More technically, it was last night around 11 p.m., but close enough. Today, the game is out, it is here, and I cannot wait to turn the camera off and go into the other room and play this game and start getting into it. I want to try to log a few hours tonight if I possibly can, so hopefully that works out. But I basically just can't wait to get started with this game. I've been looking at this game, I've been drooling at this game since March of 2020, which is when this game was first announced. It's crazy that it's been that long. The beginning of the whole pandemic thing is when we first learned about this game, and now these years later, we're finally getting to play it. And I am very, very stoked about that. So today we're looking at OpenCritic because we're going to look at some review scores, right? And today, let me first be clear. Metacritic is normally my steez because I'm just, I guess I'm just a little more familiar with Metacritic. But for today's purposes, OpenCritic is going to be a little more relevant, and we will get into why. So let's scroll down a bit. We can see that Sea of Stars has gotten absolutely rave reviews. And I am so happy and thrilled about this because there were times when I was actually slightly worried about the development of Sea of Stars. You know, it was delayed a few times. I mean, you know, most games were during the whole like COVID thing. But Sea of Stars was, I don't know, I just had a bad feeling. You know, I got burned earlier this year by Sports Story. Does anybody remember that game? That was supposed to be, you know, one of the big retro-inspired indie RPGs to really, you know, it was supposed to be the retro indie RPG game of the year, some of us thought. It was an easy lock, and then it came out and it just completely under-delivered. So much so that I did not even play the game. I think Nintendo actually refunded me, of all things. So that's weird. But anyway, Sea of Stars, not the case. Sea of Stars, rave reviews, many 10 out of 10 scores, and it ended up here on OpenCritic, I think even a little bit higher on Metacritic, but here on OpenCritic, an aggregate review of 89, and this is across all platforms. That's why I chose OpenCritic to look at today, is because it gives us all platforms. I actually was thinking about going to Metacritic and just basically plucking out each and every individual critic review score, putting it into a big spreadsheet, and then getting the true aggregate Metacritic score. Because it's so weird that Metacritic doesn't give you that option, you know what I'm saying? But OpenCritic does, so I just said, let's do this instead. But you know what we gotta do now? You know why we're here. You read the title. You know what's happening? We gotta compare this to something, because that's what we do around here sometimes. It kind of ruffles feathers a little bit here and there, but we gotta compare this game to Chained Echoes. Why? Well, because I made a video back in March of this year and I compared the two games and it completely blew up, and I have no idea why. It wasn't a very good video. I think I've had much better videos, but I went ahead and made it. I uploaded it. I didn't think too much about it. And then it just starts blowing up, and it's currently at like 52K views, which, listen, guys, for little old me, those are big numbers. That's big stuff right there. I'm not used to those kinds of numbers. That is exponentially higher than any of the other videos that I've done. So, you know, when you're a YouTuber as small as myself, you know, those little moments are basically kind of your motivation. They're like, okay, this one could get some traction. We'll see about this one. It's just a game of it's just a dice roll every time, basically. But that one, I hit the money on that one for whatever reason. But what we did in that video is I was wondering what of these two games, two basically 2023 releases. I know technically Chained Echoes came out in December of 2022, but I think that the game is fair game for discussions about end of year lists for 2023. That's how I feel, because I think that December is basically, it's a holdover month. If a great game comes out in December, no one's going to be talking about it at that year's, game awards or whatever. But the following year, it's fair game. We can talk about it. That's how I feel about December releases personally. So Chained Echoes totally fits into that. Chained Echoes gets a 90 top critic average, as well as a little bit lower on the critics recommended. So that's a little bit interesting. I'm not sure that means too much, but these games are basically tied. How crazy is that? Sea of Stars and Chained Echoes, these two games that I wanted to compare and did compare, even though we didn't actually have a full game of Sea of Stars at the time, are tied. That is so exciting to me because let me tell you something. Chained Echoes is not messing around. I mentioned this in the last video. I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but if you haven't played this game and you really want to play the best RPGs that have come out this year, I mean, this has got to be a top 4, top 5 priority in my opinion. I mean, there's so much competition. You got Baldur's Gate 3, just in turn-based games. You got Baldur's Gate 3. You got Sea of Stars, obviously. You got Octopath Traveler 2, which is, catching a lot of waves. You got Final Fantasy 16 is not turn-based, of course, not even really an RPG. But then you got something like Cassette Beasts, which is another indie RPG, which is a Pokemon-like game, which people really, really like, also very high reviewing. But Chained Echoes, it has to be in the conversation. I just think that, even with such a busy year, such a quality year, Chained Echoes for me it's just a must for some kind of recognition at the Game Awards. I don't know if it's going to get nominated. I don't think it's going to get an award necessarily, but I think Chained Echoes deserves to be nominated for something. Best indie game, best RPG. Hopefully one of those, it gets a little bit of shine, because I mean, if you just look at the scores of this game versus other indie games this year or other RPGs this year, I mean, it speaks for itself. I don't want to put too much stock into review scores. We get a little bit excited about review scores. It's just an interesting conversation to have, I guess. But ultimately, you're not going to like a game or dislike a game based on the review score. At least I hope you're not. You're going to like or dislike a game based on your own experiences with it after you've played it and beaten it. And the review scores are just kind of a fun talking point thing. So nobody, let me be very clear, I don't want to worship the review score thing here, but since we're talking about it, just wanted to give that little disclaimer, that little side note. But anyway, yeah, really quickly, let's look at my little old channel here. Yeah, Chained Echoes, by far the most highly performing video of my YouTube channel. And it's very strange. It's not a very good video. That's the funny thing about it. But I have many other videos, guys. Check me out. And also, I'm on X or Twitter or whatever. And you should check me out on there, because I'm trying to be a little more active. And I have virtually no followers. So if you come and follow me on the big Elon platform, then you might get to watch the come up, as they say. But let's see, what else do we want to talk about? Chained Echoes, Sea of Stars. Let's give the spotlight to Sea of Stars today, because it's the release day, and I am so stoked that this game, at least in the eyes of critics, which doesn't mean everything, but at least in the eyes of critics, this game is as good as Chained Echoes. These games are tied. We don't have a winner, really. We really don't have a winner. But I'm so thankful that this game, at least apparently for a consensus, is that it's just about as good as the original game that we talked about, Chained Echoes. And I'm going to stop myself there so I don't ramble anymore. And that's all we got today, guys. Yeah, check me out on Twitter, X, whatever it's called. And give me a follow. And you should follow me here on YouTube too, because we like to talk about RPGs. We like to talk about some of the retro handhelds. One of my original sort of things that I talked about here on the channel was adventure games and puzzle games. I used to play a lot of puzzle games, and then at some point RPGs just sort of snuck in and took over. But I really want to get back to those roots, because those are, you know, I've loved adventure games and puzzle games for many decades now, because I'm decades old. And let's leave it there, guys. Thanks for checking me out. We'll see you later. Go play Sea of Stars.